Hi, welcome to ISE305. This lecture is about project, which is one of the most important component of your course. Let's see. Your semester project will consist of designing and implementing a simple database application. So this simply means that whatever you have learned in the lecture, you need to show that in a medium-sized project. So I will explain to you what are expected, how should you go about it. So for that, one good news is that you can work in a team. So you can work alone or in a team of up to 3 students. We are not as allowing 4 students. So yes, either 1, 2 or 3. So that should be the team size. We recommend that the students they work in team. That's the reason team approach is recommended. Now the project that you will be working on should have this requirement which says that your project should demonstrate a thorough understanding of the process used in the design and development in design and to develop a DB application, so the database application. So a lot has been taught to you through the lectures, and yeah, you did appear in one of the quiz. An assignment was given to you, but now in the project you should put everything or most of the stuff that was taught to you into an action. That means you'll have to write a project or create a project, and the project should demonstrate a thorough understanding of the processes used to design and develop a database application. Database application should be your project over here. Now, what you have to do, you should first select a system that is of some interest to you. So that's a beautiful aspect of the project in ISE 305. Here, it is on you people to come up with a project topic. So here are some examples. Uh, a candidate, these are few candidates you can think of as the project topics. So a person music database could be designed that would keep track of music. So this project would be for someone who is interested in music, who knows a lot about music, who loves music. So another example is a database to manage membership and events in a campus club, a database to manage a small part of a business you are familiar with or are interested in, like a grocery store. A person finance database is another example, or a food recipe database. So here are only few examples listed just to give you some idea about the project topic. Or similar example could be a library management system, a movie database management system, a university database management system. So you need to come up with one topic, and when you're picking up a topic, you make sure that you are all you all always every member in the team is okay with the topic. So we don't allow duplicate projects, so that's what it is saying, no duplicate projects among the students teams. So the first team to request a project topic will be assigned the topic. Therefore, when the sign-up sheet is available to you, so the sign-up sheet means any link where you provide us the information about the project topic that you want to work on. We would only allow one team to work on a specific topic, like say the music database. Only one team would be allowed to work on the music database. Therefore, the best is to sign up with your topic on the sign up sheet as soon as possible. So how should we determine the data, your project? So your project data, let's discuss about that. You will have to have the tables in your database. So the table in your database should be populated to represent a range of possible data values. So in fact, this point and this point are related. So the data that you're using in your database or in your table should demonstrate a range of data types. So the most common data type that I could think of is a numeric data type. So example being, say the number of students in my class, that is numeric, which is integer in fact, or the average salary of the employee in an organization, that is numeric again. But the number of employees in an organization and their average salary, they are slightly different because the number of employees is going to be integer, whereas the average salary could be a decimal value where it will have the decimal and few digits after the decimal. So numeric is the most common data type. We want you to also have the date kind of data in your tables, right? Like the date of birth of an employee. You can also use URLs. You can think of putting the audios, videos. You can think of putting text data. So the message here in the first bullet says that you should populate the tables with the range of possible data values. And in each table, just try your best to have the minimum 10 to 100 rows per table. I would say, the size should be greater than 30. Okay, yeah, but it is not always possible to have 30 records in each and every table. So on average, you should have more than 30 rows per table. Some data should be key entered. You'll have to design forms. You'll be provided the material which will help you out in creating the forms. Forms are very easily available in MS Access. You can use MS Access to create forms, and these forms are used for graphical user interface or GUI. So once your tables are created, you can enter the data using the form. You'll have to create the form. So some data should be key entered, which means using the forms, but the majority of the data is expected to be imported the way we have been using in this course. Uh, when the table was created, we used a data file, which was an Excel file, and that was imported to create the table. So majority of the data in your project your database should be imported from the files, and once you have created the forms, you can use forms to add some more records there. Now the last bullet I already discussed in the context of the first bullet, which says that the data should demonstrate a range of data types like date, numeric, URL, links, etc. Now the topic should be of a size that is relational. The topic should be of a size that its relational data model, or RDM, relational data model diagram, which we also call as RDM, should have this requirement that you should at least have 5 to 10 entities and the similar number of relationship. This is very important. Your whole project is worth 35 points, and that 35 points is broken into 15 points for RDM, then 10 points for your demo, and remaining 10 points for presentation. That's how I would grade your 35 points from project. So these 15 points are extremely important. That is for RDM. All right, and in the RDM, I would look for 5 to 10 entities. If you have less than 5 entities, you are definitely going to lose points. So whenever you are picking your topic, make sure that in the topic it is not difficult to come up with at least 5 entities and at least 5 number of relationships. Now, the very first thing that you need to do is to sign up, and the sign up link is provided here. I will show you how this sign up looks like. So, I'll show you how this sign up looks like, but let me make sure that I've covered everything in this slide. You need to sign up on the document with the link below. All other project components, they'll be uploaded on Brightspace. So let me show you how this thing looks like. Okay, wait a sec. Going here, I will copy this link from here and shall post it. In fact, it is already open, but let's do that one more time. Here you go, right? So in this document, what you have to do, I already put some team numbers. So the very first team should go over here and should provide the members information. So if there are three members, then you should put name here of the first member, then the second member's name, third member's name, and then the project topic. So the same thing should be done for all the teams. If there are more than 6 teams, then you should put 7 over here. Again, it is possible to do the project by just one student, so the team can have 1, 2, or maximum 3 members. At the bottom, I have provided a list of all the students. It is an online course, so I have this feeling that probably the communication is not proper. So if you have to check if anybody is looking for the partners, then feel free to send the email. And this email information that I have here should be used to reach out to the other students in the class to form a team. You can also use Piazza, and I think I did share the Piazza link for the course. So either use Piazza or these email addresses available here to reach out to the other students to form the team. Fine, so this is the sign up thing, and then we have the next tab, which is for RDM sign up. So after, well, I'll talk about RDM sign ups. So on 24th of this month, I will like to see you people in the RDM presentation, and this is the presentation time available. So after you have formed your team, picked up the topic, then please sign up for your presentation of the RDM. That will happen on the 24th, and your final project demo will happen on July the 1st. Right, so here also I have provided some timing, and if you I'll have to see how many teams are here. So if there are more than well, on the basis of how many teams we have here, I will add more time slots on the final project demo. Let me go back to the lecture slides. Okay, so then what do we have? Here we go about the deliverables. So now you will be very busy. We are towards the end of the semester, and here most of the stuff has been taught, so you are in a position to start working on your project. So please do that. So here are the deadlines. Let's look at these. No later than Thursday, which is tomorrow, 6 2024, 11:59 p.m. New York time. What you should do, you must form a group and decide on a topic of your database. This is not difficult, right? Reach out to your friends. Okay, let's see if they are available, or if you want to do your project yourself, then please come up with a topic and put that topic over there, because the sooner that you do, better it will be. Duplicate project topics are not allowed. So provide this information on the shared sign up sheet. I will post this on the on Brightspace as well. And by Friday, which is 21st of June 2024, 11:59 p.m., what you should do, you have to write a statement of your project, of your database project. Now the statement that you should have would be a summary, and that should be about half a page to a 1 page long. You need to upload that on Brightspace. I will create a link and I'll share that with you. Now this don't stress too much about this statement. This statement is something that we want you to write so that you can have some idea about your project, and it should be 1 or 2 paragraphs explanation of what your project would be all about. So as an example, if you're working on a movie database project, then you would say, okay, fine, in my ISE305 project, I will be working on movie database, and in this movie database, I would keep the information about all this the actors, directors, movies, studios, ratings, all those things you can talk about. It should not be technical. I'm not expecting the RDM there, right? I don't want you to, if you are comfortable doing it, yeah, do it. But I don't want the technical stuff like entities, relationships, the cardinalities of the relationship, the multiplicity. When I am saying cardinality, that means the multiplicity of the relationship, and the primary key, foreign key. That technical details should not be in the statement. The statement should be a simple English, 1 or 2 paragraph, telling us about what project you are working on and what kind of data you will have. After that, once you have written the statement, that will give you some picture about what your database is going, what your project or the database is going to be. Then the next important thing is the creation of an initial RDM. Okay, so you need to create the RDM of your project database problem, and you need to upload that on the Brightspace by 23rd of June 2024. That is this Sunday, 11:59 p.m. That is the initial RDM. Please make it. It's possible that it may not be perfect. That's all right. On 24th, you will have to present it to me as per the schedule that you have on the sign up sheet. And yeah, when you're presenting, I will help you out. If I find something missing, I will ask you to correct. And on 24th, when you're presenting your RDM to me, I'm not grading that day, right? So your RDM will be graded only in your final presentation, which is on July 1st. But please do create your RDM and show it to me on 24th. And before that, you need to upload that on Brightspace by this Sunday, which is 23rd. Okay, good. So the next thing is that starting from 24th of June, which is Monday, your group should present your RDM in the class. And you should use my office hours Zoom link. And in this presentation, you need to briefly explain to me what your project topic is, and then you will show me like why, how did you, what do you have in your RDM. Okay, and here I will help you out. If there is something missing, then yeah, I'll provide you constructive feedback. So I would expect everybody to be present in that. If you could attend that, then that will be great. So the class will be expected to understand your RDM, right, your diagram, and provide the constructive feedback on that. On the basis of the constructive feedback, if there is one, you are supposed to revise your proposed project diagram according to the feedback that you have received. And any rethinking you have done. Now, after the RDM has been approved, then you should start the implementation of your project. So in the implementation, it will involve the creation of the corresponding table in MS Access. And when you're creating a table, you will have to define all the keys like primary keys and the foreign keys. Now by 26th of June, Wednesday, you should submit your revised RDM, and then the deadline for submitting the project is on 29th of this month, right? So today is 19, so you have 10 days, and I think 10 days are enough for your project. The only thing is that you will have to put some time onto that, and it is important. It is 35 points. So 29th of June is Saturday. So by 11:59 p.m. New York time, you should submit the Access database with your tables. Declare. You will have to create simple form in Access that you can use to enter data into your tables. I will provide you the information on how to create forms. You can use the wizard in Access to create the forms and use a variety of the formats supported, and you can choose the one that you think is best for each particular table. You can use forms to populate your tables with reasonable data, and you should enter enough data so that the reasonable queries can be tested, can be asked and tested. So if your tables are very small, then you won't have the freedom to try complex queries, and queries are important because I will see how many queries do you have and whether those queries are complex enough or not. If you have two simple queries, very simple queries, then yeah, probably you will lose some points there. Now, different tables will require different number of rows to be reasonable. Okay, so another interesting thing about the project here is that you have to make up 5 interesting questions you would ask on your database. So when you have been given the freedom to pick your own project topic, you also have the freedom to come up with 5 interesting questions that we can ask on your database. So you should come up with those 5 interesting questions, and these should be the question of a user of your database might want to ask. want an answer rather. So for these queries, for this question, you should have English description of the query and the corresponding SQL statement. So we people think in English, right? In natural language, I'll say that could be English or any other language. But since I have been teaching in English, and yeah, so let's stick to English. So human thinks in languages like English, Spanish, German, French, so on and so forth. So our thought process, I would say, remains in the natural language. Therefore, for these five interesting questions that you have, first you should have the English description of those questions that a user might ask on your database. Now, after that, you'll have to think about the corresponding SQL statements, because your database or your MS Access, your DBMS like MS Access won't understand English. That query needs to be translated to SQL statement. Therefore, in your project, you should have five interesting queries in English and their corresponding SQL statement. Now, the queries should be slightly complex, which means that you should have joins, right? We did learn about joins, and we'll probably learn a little more about joins. For each question, explain briefly when and why a user would want to ask that on the database, right? So they should not be arbitrary or random. The queries and the questions that you're coming up with, they should be reasonable with some application in real life. Now, some more detail about the forms. You should create at least two hierarchical forms in Access for your database. When you will do your presentation, final project presentation, I will ask you whether you have two hierarchical forms or not. Hierarchical forms are simple to create. What you need to do, you can design hierarchical form for one-to-many relationship. Okay, so there you'll have a table called the parent table, and there will be a child table. So for a hierarchical table, a hierarchical form, you need to choose the most important parent and child table and create a hierarchical form for them. Now you need to format them so that they are pleasing to eye and include any extra information from outside the parent and the child table that you think the user would find helpful, right? So this is a little subjective, I would say, like what is beautiful, what is pleasing to eye, but yeah, make sure that it doesn't look ugly, right? It should be decent. The form should be decent. Now create at least one report of your database. Now you need to create forms, and you also need to create a report. So the forms, they serve as a graphical user interface to allow the user easy access to the data in the tables, whereas the reports that we have here, they serve a different purpose. Report utility in MS Access allows us to present the data in more presentable format, which can be easily shared, right? So the reports, they facilitate sharing of the data, and reports are ultimately exported into a file format like PDF, and then can be easily sent over the email to the interested party. Therefore, I would like you to experiment with the report also, and your project would require at least one report from your database. The report should be of interest to a serious user of your database. Now submit the MS Access database with the forms and reports, and you should also include the PowerPoint presentation. Now the PowerPoint presentation will help you a lot in presenting, because you can organize your project presentation using PowerPoint. Like in the first slide, you should have the project name, you should have the team members information, and in the next slide you can write the contribution of each team member. I want each team member to contribute to the to equal extent, and in the presentation I would ask like who has done what. So if you put that in the second slide, then probably the chances are that I may not ask, or if I'm asking, you can refer to that slide and you can read through that. Then you can have the RDM in your presentation, in your PowerPoint presentation. Then you can have the information about the different entities, the different tables. So the message is that PowerPoint presentation is must, and it'll make your life a lot convenient. You can organize your demo based on the contents that you have on the PowerPoint. Now sign up for the presentation time as soon as possible. And in your PowerPoint presentation, you should have five interesting queries that you are asking on your database. And they should include the queries that require joins and aggregates. We already discussed that. Now, if you're wondering like how your project will be graded, so your graded will be based on each major components. So don't submit any component late. They should be submitted on time. Please do the final presentation. Your understanding of the database technology should be reflected in your project. You should use large external data set. Make sure your tables are at least some 20 to 30 records each table. A table with just 5 records won't look good. A table with less than 10 or less than 15 won't look good. All teammates should participate in the presentation. And yes, the RDM is important. I told you that RDM has 15 points. You should include that in your PowerPoint as well. You should have the tables, and your table should have reasonably populated with the variety of data. I'll check whether your tables have sufficient data or not. Do you have variety in your data or not? Queries, I'll check whether you have 5 interesting queries or not. The forms, I'll check like, do you have at least 2 hierarchical forms? So often the students, they don't do it, right? So if you don't have 2 hierarchical form, probably you're losing 2 points right there. Reports, do you have at least one interesting report or not, right? And any additional feature, if you have in your project, then yeah, you can list that in your presentation, and I might give you extra credit based on any additional features that you have in your project. All right, so that was it about your project. If you have any queries, please reach out to me, join my office hours, or send me an email. I'll be happy to help you. Bye bye, take care. Thank you.